focus on yourself and stay silent right now. What if I told you that over 90% of the things you worry about never happen, and the rest you handle better than you think? Marcus Aurelius saw this 2,000 years ago. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Tonight, I'll show you how to turn that line into a life you actually control. A few years back, I was in a meeting where a senior exec dismissed my work with a shrug. I felt the heat rise, like clutching a hot coal I was about to throw. I wanted to argue, prove, perform. Instead, I did something uncharacteristic. I stayed quiet, wrote one clear action I could take, and executed. No speech, no drama. The next quarter, the results were obvious, and so was the respect. Have you had a moment like that, where silence earned more than speaking ever would?
Tonight we're walking through 7 Stoic laws of silent strength, a blueprint for men under pressure who want calm authority without the noise. You'll get stories, quotes, psychological insights, and drills you can do today. And at the end, I'll give you a simple 7-minute daily ritual that fuses everything together. Stay with me. There's a habit in law number 4 that quietly rewired my stress response, and I'll show you exactly how to build it.
Law 1. Control what you can and drop the rest. The world is a carnival of distractions. Politics, performance reviews, text alerts, other people's moods. But the Stoic line is bright. Control versus no control. Your attention is your life's currency. Spend it where it compounds. Quote, Marcus Aurelius, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Modern insight. In worry journaling studies, most anticipated disasters never occur, and when they do, people cope far better than expected. Translation, your predictions aren't facts, they're forecasts with bad data. Drills, tonight. 1. 2-column cut. Draw 2 columns, mine, not mine. Under mine, effort, schedule, focus, standards. Under not mine, opinions, outcomes, timing, other people. Cross out not mine. Act only from mine. 2. 90-second reset. When a trigger hits, set a timer for 90 seconds. Breathe 4-7-8. Ask, what one controllable move reduces this by 20%? Do that. 3. Rules for me. Write 3 standards, e.g., I never reply in anger, I plan tomorrow by 9 p.m., I move my body daily. Standards versus feelings. Most people think control means gripping harder. Twist. It often means letting go faster. What would change this week if you dropped one battle that was never yours? What not mine item eats your energy? Drop it in the comments with one word. Outcomes, opinions, timing, or politics. Let's see where the room is.
Law 2. Meaning creates emotion. You don't feel events. You feel your interpretation of events. Lose a deal? One man spirals, unfinished. Another reframes. Tuition paid. Feedback received. Same event, different meaning, different life. Quote, Seneca, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Modern insight, cognitive reappraisal, deliberately reframing a stressor, reduces amygdala reactivity and improves performance under pressure. It's not denial, it's design. A client, let's call him Dan, was skipped for promotion. Old Dan script, they don't value me. New Dan script, fantastic signal, clearer scoreboard. I'll build undeniable skills for 90 days, then choose, inside or exit. He reframed insult into intelligence. 90 silent days later, he had 2 offers, one internal, one external. He picked the one with agency, not applause. Drills, tonight. 1. Rename the storm. Write the event, then title it in 3 ways: setback, signal, seminar. Choose the title that builds you. 2. Gratitude lockpick. List 3 things the problem gives you: clarity, constraint, stamina. Gratitude changes the emotional lock. 3. One line. This is training for blank. Fill the blank. Patience, precision, persuasion. In Law 3, I'll show you the invisible practice that makes reframing automatic, so you don't have to white-knuckle your way through every challenge. If this already feels useful, subscribe so you don't miss the next lesson. We do this every week. No fluff, just tools.
Law 3. Private discipline, public power. We're addicted to visibility. Posts, presentations, praise. Stoicism flips it. Results are public. Training is private. You get rewarded in public for the reps you do when nobody cares. Quote, Marcus Aurelius, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Modern insight. Habit formation research shows identity-based reps beat motivation. When you prove small promises to yourself, your brain updates your self-image from the inside out. Years ago, I kept telling people I was a morning person. Truth, I was a snoozer. So I made a quiet rule. Up at 6, device-free first 30, 3 bricks laid before sunrise, a brick being one controllable action. Write 300 words, lift for 20, plan the day. No posts, no accountability buddies, just a scoreboard on paper. After 30 days, my anxiety dropped by half, not because the world got easier, but because my word got heavier. Drills, tonight. 3 silent bricks. Choose 3 repeatable 10 to 20-minute bricks tied to who you're becoming: health, craft, relationships. Lay them before anyone's awake. No post rule. For 30 days, don't announce efforts. Ship, don't share. Let the scoreboard speak. Personal KPI. Track 1 metric you fully control: focused minutes, clean meals, outreach messages. Outcomes lag. Inputs are now. What most people get wrong is they chase motivation spikes. Stoics chase standards. Standards don't ask if you feel like it. Coming up next, the one habit that turns stress into strength on command. It's the difference between snapping at your kids after a brutal day and showing up like a rock. I'll give you the exact protocol.
So far, you've drawn the control line and rewritten your story. But control without composure is a soldier with no shield. In the next part, we'll build your calm under fire, a breathing plus framing plus language sequence that works in the meeting, in traffic, and at 11 p.m. when your brain won't shut off. The 4 words that instantly shrink any problem. The 60-second drill Navy divers use to keep panic from winning. The quiet contract that ends people-pleasing without a fight. You've started building a triangle: control, meaning, discipline. Control protects attention. Meaning directs emotion. Discipline earns self-respect. Where do you feel weakest right now? If it's control, your 2-column cut is the move. If it's meaning, the rename the storm drill. If it's discipline, the 3 silent bricks. Which edge needs a rep tomorrow morning? Minute 0 to 5, 2-column cut. Circle 1 action. Minute 5 to 10, rename the storm. Write 3 new titles, pick 1. Minute 10 to 20, lay 1 silent brick tied to a value you care about. Set your phone to Do Not Disturb. Put on actual or metaphorical noise-canceling headphones. This is your time.
Why silence works. Silence isn't withdrawal, it's preparation. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Silence creates the gap where reaction becomes response. That gap is freedom. That freedom is manhood, not bravado, but self-command. Remember, you don't need louder motivation. You need quieter discipline. You don't need a perfect plan. You need the next right rep. And as Marcus reminds us, strength lives where your control does, inside. If this landed, subscribe for weekly Stoic toolkits.
The Stoic architecture of calm. What if I told you that most people don't quit under pressure because the challenge was impossible, but because they never trained their minds before the storm arrived? Think about it. Navy divers, surgeons, athletes, even firefighters, they all practice calm before chaos. The Stoics saw life the same way. They believed you should train every single day in the small things so that when the big test comes, you're ready. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The key word is realize. Realization is active. It requires practice. Calm isn't an accident, it's a discipline. So how do you train your mind to be calm in every situation? Let's break this down into 3 Stoic drills.
Drill 1. The gap between stimulus and response. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Modern psychology confirms this. There's a fraction of a second between stimulus and response, a tiny gap where you can choose. Most people don't even notice that gap. They just react. A harsh email arrives, and they fire back. A colleague interrupts, and they snap. But the Stoic trains himself to pause. Try this. The next time you feel a surge of anger, count 1, 2, 3 before you respond. Those 3 seconds are your fortress. In that space, you shift from being a puppet of impulse to being the master of choice. Ask yourself, does this deserve my energy, or am I letting someone else steer my ship?
Drill 2. Negative visualization. Seneca had a practice called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. He would imagine setbacks before they happened, the loss of wealth, betrayal, illness. Why? Because when the worst arrived, he was already prepared. This isn't pessimism, it's armor. Before a big meeting, imagine everything that could go wrong. The tech fails, your boss criticizes you, someone mocks your idea. Now picture yourself staying calm through all of it. By rehearsing adversity, you blunt its sting. Modern sports psychology calls this stress inoculation. By practicing worst-case scenarios, your nervous system doesn't panic when they show up. Instead, you meet them like old acquaintances. Drill 3. Control the body. Calm the mind. When the body panics, the mind follows. But the reverse is also true. When you control your body, you anchor the mind. A simple exercise. Box breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold for 4. Repeat 5 cycles. This is the same method Navy SEALs use in combat zones. It slows the heart, calms the nervous system, and tells your brain, you are safe. Pause here. Imagine combining these 3 drills: the pause, the visualization, the breath. Each one is simple, but together, they forge a man who doesn't shatter when life shouts. But here's the twist. Calm isn't just about defense. It's also about power. A calm man sees what others can't. Calm creates clarity. Picture this. You're stuck in traffic, late for an important presentation. Most people slam the horn, stew in anger, and arrive frazzled. But you breathe, accept what you can't control, and prepare mentally instead. You walk into the room composed while others would stumble in scattered. Calm isn't passive, it's strategic. It lets you respond, not react. It turns obstacles into stepping stones. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Most stress is self-inflicted. We imagine future disasters, replay past mistakes, or exaggerate present annoyances. Calm clears the fog so we can see reality for what it is and act with precision. So here's a question for you. When was the last time you let imagination cause more suffering than reality? Write it down. You'll notice that the story you told yourself was worse than the facts. In the war, Admiral James Stockdale was captured and tortured for 7 years. When asked how he survived, he credited Stoicism. He practiced Marcus Aurelius's teachings daily, reminding himself that he could not control his captors, only his mind. He visualized outcomes, stayed disciplined with his routines, and refused to despair. He later said, "I never lost faith in the end of the story." Stockdale's resilience became known as the Stockdale paradox. Confront the brutal facts of reality, but never lose faith in ultimate victory. That's calm at its highest level. Not denial, not fantasy, but disciplined hope. Have you ever tried training your calm before chaos? Drop a yes or not yet in the comments. I'd love to hear where you are on this path. And if this resonates, subscribe. Each week, we build another piece of your inner fortress, brick by brick. So far, we've built the foundation of calm, the pause, the breath, the mindset. But calm alone isn't enough. To truly thrive, you need to transform pressure into fuel. In the next part, we'll explore how Stoics used discomfort as training, and why seeking comfort is actually the fastest way to weakness. Stay with me, because this next lesson could shift the way you handle every setback in your life.
Turning discomfort into training. Here's a hard truth. The modern world is too comfortable. We have climate control, food delivery, instant entertainment, all designed to keep us cushioned from even the slightest discomfort. But the Stoics warned us, comfort breeds weakness, and weakness makes us fragile when life inevitably throws its storms. Epictetus said, "Difficulties show what men are." He didn't mean difficulties ruin us. He meant they reveal us. Pressure pulls the mask off and shows what's really underneath. Think about a time you were under extreme stress, maybe a financial setback, a breakup, or sudden job loss. Did you crumble, or did you adapt? That's the test. And if you don't like your answer, the good news is you can train for the next one. Why seek discomfort? Let's borrow from the gym. Muscles grow only when they're stressed. Too light a weight, and nothing changes. Too heavy, and you break. But with just enough resistance, over time, you transform. Your mind is the same. If you always avoid discomfort, never speaking up, never trying something new, never pushing limits, you stay mentally weak. But small, chosen discomforts train resilience. Seneca wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself all the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" This wasn't masochism, it was freedom training. By living simply for a few days, he discovered he could endure. And when you realize you can endure, fear loses its grip.
3. Stoic discomfort drills. Drill 1. Voluntary hardship. Pick one day each week to practice voluntary simplicity. Eat plain food, avoid luxuries, maybe even sleep on the floor. This isn't punishment, it's preparation. It teaches you, if life strips me of comfort, I can still thrive. Next time a real hardship comes, you'll remember that strength. Drill 2. Cold exposure. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Ask yourself, is this unbearable? You will find it is not." Take a cold shower or a brisk winter walk without overdressing. At first, your body screams, "This is unbearable." But with practice, you discover it's unpleasant, not impossible. That lesson transfers everywhere. Unpleasant is not the same as impossible. Drill 3. The silence fast. In today's world, silence is rare and uncomfortable. Try going a full day without unnecessary words, music, or media. Just you, your thoughts, and your work. Why? Because silence reveals your inner noise. And once you notice that noise, you can begin to calm it. Case study: Viktor Frankl. In Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl described life in Nazi concentration camps. Stripped of comfort, food, and dignity, he discovered the last human freedom: to choose one's attitude in any circumstance. He wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing: the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Frankl survived not by avoiding suffering, but by giving it meaning. That's the heart of Stoic training. But here's the twist. Most people think training in discomfort is about toughness. But it's not. It's about trust. Trust in yourself that no matter what comes, you'll handle it. You don't need life to be easy. You need to know you can endure when it's not. And here's the real secret. Once you embrace discomfort, it loses its power over you. Fear shrinks. Anxiety fades. You stop asking, "What if this happens to me?" and start saying, "If it happens, I'll handle it."
The Stoic Reframe of pain. Ask yourself, what if pain is not punishment, but preparation? When you hit setbacks, instead of asking, "Why me?" the Stoic asks, "For what purpose? What skill is this teaching me? What strength is this building?" That reframing is powerful. Suddenly, pain is not the end, it's the beginning. I want to hear from you. What's one form of discomfort you've been avoiding? Public speaking, financial discipline, exercise, or maybe difficult conversations? Drop it in the comments. And more importantly, ask yourself, what strength would I gain if I faced it?
Modern application. Digital discomfort. One of the biggest discomforts today isn't hunger or cold, it's boredom. We can't stand silence without reaching for our phones. But boredom is training. Try this. Leave your phone at home for a walk. Don't check email for the first 2 hours of the day. That tiny discomfort rewires your brain for focus and self-control. As Marcus Aurelius would say, you have power over your mind. Power starts with reclaiming your attention. So far, we've seen how calm gives clarity and discomfort builds strength. But there's another layer: discipline. Without discipline, calm and strength collapse under pressure. In the next part, we'll uncover the Stoic blueprint for daily discipline, why private victories matter more than public applause, and how the quiet routines you keep in secret are the true engines of resilience. And I'll share the story of one of history's greatest athletes who unknowingly lived by Stoic principles, proving that discipline practiced in silence can shake the world. Stay with me, because this next lesson alone is worth your time.
Discipline, the invisible engine of power. Most people think greatness is built on talent, but the Stoics and anyone who has achieved lasting success know the truth.
Greatness is built on discipline, not the flashy kind of discipline people post on social media. I'm talking about the quiet, invisible routines you keep when nobody's watching. The kind of discipline that doesn't seek applause, but produces undeniable results. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. Notice the word be. He didn't say talk about one or look like one. He said be. That's discipline, living the principle instead of performing it. The iceberg of greatness. Think of Steph Curry, one of the greatest shooters in basketball history. Fans see the highlight reels, the buzzer beaters, the championship rings, but what they don't see are the thousands of invisible hours. Early mornings alone in the gym, hundreds of shots missed in practice. The repetition so boring, most people would quit. Greatness is like an iceberg, 10% visible, 90% invisible. And discipline is that hidden mass below the surface. The Stoics lived the same way. Their power wasn't in speeches or debates. It was in their daily practices, the journaling, the reflection, the choosing of virtue in small, private moments.
Why private discipline matters. Here's the paradox. You get rewarded in public for what you repeat in private. Seneca wrote, "Character is not tested in public, but in private, where no one can see." That's where your true self is revealed. It's easy to be calm when everyone's watching. It's harder to stay calm when traffic cuts you off, or when your child spills juice on your laptop, or when your boss emails you at 10 p.m. demanding more. Those are the moments discipline is tested, not when you're preaching about self-control, but when you're practicing it.
3 daily discipline habits. Habit 1. The evening audit. Every night, Marcus Aurelius reflected on his day. What did I do well? Where did I slip? What can I improve tomorrow? Try this. Before bed, jot down 3 wins and 1 lesson. This tiny act builds self-awareness and momentum. Habit 2. The non-negotiable morning. The Stoics believed how you start your day shapes the whole. Seneca said, each day is a new life. Create a non-negotiable morning practice. It could be journaling, stretching, or 5 minutes of breathing. It doesn't have to be long, it has to be consistent. That consistency tells your mind, I am in control today. Habit 3. The virtue check. Epictetus told his students to constantly ask, what is within my control? What is the virtuous action here? Practice 1 virtue each week. Courage, temperance, justice, wisdom. Write it on a card. Keep it in your pocket. Throughout the day, ask, am I living this virtue right now? It's simple. It's silent. And over time, it transforms character.
What most people get wrong about discipline. They think it's punishment. It's not. It's freedom. Think of a musician. At first, discipline feels like boring scales. But once mastered, discipline becomes freedom to play with beauty. Your life works the same way. Discipline isn't a cage. It's the key that unlocks freedom. Retired Navy SEAL Commander Jocko Willink embodies Stoic discipline in modern times. His mantra, discipline equals freedom, is pure Stoicism in action. He wakes up at 4:30 a.m. every morning, not because he loves it, but because it sets the tone, control before chaos. Like the Stoics, Jocko knows external events are unpredictable, but discipline ensures you always meet them with readiness. And that's the lesson. Freedom is not the absence of rules. Freedom is the presence of inner order.
Here's another Stoic truth. Confidence isn't something you receive. It's something you earn. You don't build self-esteem by repeating affirmations in the mirror. You build it by doing difficult things consistently. Ask yourself, what am I doing today that makes me respect the man I see in the mirror? If the answer is nothing, that's not a reason for shame. It's a call to action, because discipline is available to everyone. The silent challenge. Here's a drill for you. Pick one meaningful action: exercise, journaling, fasting, meditation, and do it every day for 7 days. Tell no one. Post nothing. Seek no validation. At the end of the week, reflect. How do I feel about myself? Did silence make me weaker or stronger? That's Stoic discipline. Doing the work in the shadows, then letting the results speak in the light. Quick question for you. What's one area of your life where discipline is missing? Drop a 1 in the comments if it's physical health, a 2 if it's relationships, a 3 if it's finances, or a 4 if it's emotional control. Let's see where most of us are fighting the same battles. And if this is landing with you, hit subscribe. Each week I share tools to sharpen your discipline and reclaim your freedom. We've seen how calm builds clarity, discomfort builds resilience, and discipline builds freedom. But there's another force we haven't yet explored: meaning. Because even with calm, resilience, and discipline, if your life feels meaningless, you'll still feel hollow. In the next part, we'll uncover the Stoic secret of meaning, why your interpretation of events shapes your emotions, and how rewriting your story can transform despair into strength. Stay with me, because meaning isn't just philosophy. It's the lever that shifts your entire emotional world.
Meaning creates emotion. Here's a truth most people never learn. Your emotions aren't dictated by events. They're dictated by the meaning you attach to events. 2 men can lose their jobs on the same day. One spirals into despair: I'm worthless, I'll never recover. The other feels strangely liberated. This is my chance to start the business I've been dreaming about. The event is the same. The emotion is different. Why? Because meaning creates emotion. Marcus Aurelius put it simply: if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. That last phrase, "you have the power to revoke," is the key. You can rewrite the story. The trap of negative meaning. Most suffering doesn't come from events themselves. It comes from the story we tell ourselves about them. A friend doesn't text back. You decide, they don't care about me. A boss criticizes your work. You decide, I'm a failure. A stranger cuts you off in traffic. You decide, the world is against me. Notice what happened. You turned neutral events into attacks on your worth. That interpretation, not the event, is what created suffering. Seneca nailed it when he said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Your imagination is a storyteller, but most of the time it tells horror stories.
The Stoic Reframe. So how do you change the meaning? The Stoics used a simple 3-step method. 1. Notice the narrative. Ask yourself, What story am I telling right now? 2. Challenge it. Is this story absolutely true, or is it just my interpretation? 3. Rewrite it. What's a more empowering meaning I could attach? Example, you get rejected after a job interview. Old narrative, I'll never succeed. Stoic Reframe, this is training. Each rejection sharpens me for the right opportunity. Same event, different meaning, different emotion.
Gratitude as a meaning shifter. Gratitude is one of the fastest ways to rewrite meaning. Think about it. You can't feel angry and grateful at the same time. You can't feel fear and gratitude simultaneously. Gratitude changes the lens instantly. Try this. The next time something frustrates you, ask, what does this give me that I can be grateful for? Flat tire? Gratitude, I learned to slow down and pay attention. Argument with spouse? Gratitude, we care enough to fight. It means the relationship matters. Heavy workload? Gratitude, someone trusts me with responsibility. Gratitude doesn't erase difficulty, it transforms it. Seneca, once a powerful senator, was exiled by the Emperor Claudius. Stripped of wealth, status, and influence, he could have collapsed into bitterness. Instead, he reframed exile as a gift. Cut off from politics, he wrote some of his greatest works, letters that still inspire millions. What seemed like punishment became preparation for his true legacy. That's the power of meaning. The actor Michael J. Fox was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in his 30s. At first, it felt like devastation. But instead of clinging to the meaning, my life is over, he rewrote it as, this is my chance to raise awareness and fund research. Today, his foundation has raised over $1.5 billion for Parkinson's research. His suffering became his service, all because he chose a different meaning. Most people believe emotions are automatic. I feel this way because it just happened. But the Stoics knew better. Emotions are chosen indirectly through the meanings you attach. That means you're not powerless. You're an author. Every day, you're writing a story about what's happening to you. The only question is, are you writing a tragedy or a triumph?
The meaning audit. Here's a drill for this week. Each evening, write down one difficult moment from your day. Then ask, what meaning did I give it in the moment? How did that meaning make me feel? What other meaning could I choose that would make me stronger? Over time, this rewires your brain to pause before defaulting to negative interpretations. You stop being a prisoner of meaning and start being its architect. Have you ever had a painful event that later turned out to be a blessing in disguise? Share it in the comments. I guarantee your story will inspire someone else. And if you're finding value here, make sure to subscribe. Every lesson is designed to shift your perspective and strengthen your inner fortress. So far, we've learned how calm clears your mind, discomfort strengthens your spirit, discipline builds freedom, and meaning shapes emotion. But meaning alone isn't enough. You also need identity. Because here's the secret. You can't grow beyond what you're unwilling to admit about yourself. In the next part, we'll uncover why acceptance is the first step to transformation, and how the Stoics used radical honesty to turn flaws into fuel. Stay with me, because this next principle may completely change the way you see yourself.
Acceptance, the gateway to growth. Most people think growth means pretending to be someone they're not. They create polished images for social media, hide their weaknesses, and perform strength instead of cultivating it. But the Stoics knew the truth. Growth begins with acceptance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That includes the events inside you, the flaws, fears, and shadows you'd rather not see. Acceptance is not resignation, it's recognition. It's looking in the mirror without flinching. It's saying, "This is who I am, and because I see it clearly, I can now grow beyond it."
The illusion of perfection. Ask yourself, how much energy do you waste hiding your flaws, pretending you don't get angry, pretending you're not insecure, pretending you're always in control? The irony is, hiding your weakness keeps you weak. What you refuse to face, you can't fix. Epictetus warned, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." If you're convinced you're already strong, already wise, already unshakable, you've closed the door to growth. The first step forward is admitting where you actually stand.
The paradox of acceptance. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop fighting your flaws is the moment you gain power over them. Think of an addict. As long as he denies he has a problem, the addiction controls him. The day he accepts reality, yes, I'm addicted, is the day change becomes possible. The same applies to anger, pride, insecurity, fear. You can't outmuscle them with denial. You must accept them first. Let me tell you about Nick. He grew up feeling invisible, isolated from peers, always on the outside looking in. For years, he hated this loneliness. He saw it as proof that something was wrong with him. But when he finally accepted it, when he stopped wishing to be someone else, he discovered something surprising. Solitude had trained him. It gave him independence, deep reflection, and resilience. What he once saw as a curse became his superpower. Acceptance turned his wound into wisdom. What most people get wrong about acceptance is they confuse it with passivity. They think acceptance means giving up, but Stoic acceptance is active. It's saying, "This is my starting point, and because I see it clearly, I can build from here." Think of a map. If you lie about your location, you'll never reach your destination. Acceptance is dropping the lie. It's saying, "I'm here, and from here, I can move forward."
3 Stoic practices for radical acceptance. Practice 1. Journaling with brutal honesty. Marcus Aurelius didn't write meditations for the world. He wrote them for himself. A private audit. Try this. Each morning, write down one weakness honestly. Anger, fear, laziness, envy. Then write, "This is mine to master." That small act removes denial and opens the door to growth. Practice 2. The friend as mirror test. Seneca advised surrounding yourself with friends who reflect your truth, not your illusions. Ask a trusted friend, "What's one area you see me struggling with?" Listen without defense. That mirror is uncomfortable, but essential. Practice 3. Reframe the flaw as fuel. Instead of hiding your flaws, ask, "What strength might this weakness be teaching me?" Anger can teach patience. Fear can train courage. Insecurity can drive mastery. Every shadow, when faced, contains the seed of growth. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The Rock is one of the most successful entertainers alive, but he often shares openly about his depression in his early years. He didn't hide it. He accepted it and used it as fuel to build discipline, empathy, and resilience. That's why millions respect him, not because he's perfect, but because he's real.
The hidden strength in scars.
What if the very pain you've been trying to erase is not your weakness, but your hidden strength? Think of your scars, emotional, physical, spiritual. You can spend life hiding them, or you can wear them as proof you survived, proof you're stronger than what tried to break you. The Stoics believed scars are not shameful, they're sacred. They're reminders of battles fought and lessons learned. For the next 7 days, pick one flaw and write about it each night. What situations trigger it? How does it affect my choices? What strength could it be building in me? At the end of the week, read your notes. You'll notice the flaw shrinking in power because what you face honestly loses its grip. I want to hear from you. What's one flaw you've learned to accept and maybe even transform? Drop it in the comments. You'll be surprised how many others are fighting the same battle. And if this lesson hits home, subscribe, because each week we take another step towards self-mastery together. We've seen how calm clears the mind, discomfort strengthens the body, discipline builds freedom, meaning shapes emotion, and acceptance opens the door to growth. But there's one more truth the Stoics pressed hard. Pain itself can become power. In the next part, we'll explore the paradox of pain, how the very experiences you thought would destroy you can forge unshakable strength. And I'll share the story of a man who lost everything, only to discover that rock bottom was the foundation of a new life. Stay with me, because this lesson may just change the way you look at your hardest trials.
Let's face it, pain is the one guarantee in life. Loss, betrayal, illness, rejection, they come for everyone. Most people see pain as a dead end, but the Stoics flipped the script. They saw pain not as punishment, but as raw material for strength. Epictetus, born a slave and crippled by his master, could have lived bitter. Instead, he declared, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." That response turned his suffering into philosophy that still changes lives 2,000 years later. So the question isn't, will I face pain? The question is, what will I do with it?
The two roads of pain. When pain hits, you stand at a crossroads. Road 1, victimhood. You replay the injustice, curse fate, and let the wound define you. The pain becomes poison. Road 2, mastery. You confront the wound, extract its lesson, and forge it into strength. The pain becomes power. Most people unconsciously walk road 1, but the Stoic chooses road 2 because he knows suffering without meaning breaks you, but suffering with meaning remakes you. Captured in war, tortured for 7 years, Stockdale could have surrendered to despair. Instead, he drew daily strength from Epictetus. He said, "I never lost faith in the end of the story." His torment became a crucible. The Stockdale paradox was born. Confront the brutal facts of your reality, but never lose hope in ultimate victory. Pain became his power, and his leadership saved countless fellow prisoners.
The paradox of regret. Have you ever looked back on your hardest season and thought, "I'd never want to relive that, but I wouldn't trade what it made me into"? That's the paradox of pain. You can hate the event and love the strength it gave you. Both can be true. Seneca captured it perfectly. Fire tests gold. Adversity tests the brave.
3 Stoic steps to transform pain. Step 1. Acknowledge it without illusion. Don't minimize or exaggerate. Write the pain down exactly as it is. I lost the job. My spouse betrayed me. Clear facts, no drama. This keeps pain from ballooning in your imagination. Step 2. Ask the transformative question. Instead of why me, ask what now? What can this pain teach me? What strength is it demanding? This shifts you from victim to student. Step 3. Convert it into service. The Stoics believed the highest use of pain is turning it outward. Seneca used exile to write letters that still help us today. Modern survivors often become mentors, leaders, advocates. Your pain becomes power the moment it helps someone else. John had it all: wealth, success, reputation. Then bankruptcy struck. Overnight, he lost his business, his home, and his pride. For months, he couldn't get out of bed. But slowly, he began reframing the collapse. He realized the ruins are a foundation. He rebuilt, not the fragile empire he once had, but a life rooted in humility and resilience. Years later, John admitted, "I wouldn't want to go through it again, but I am who I am because of it." That's Stoic power, pain as teacher, not tormentor. The hidden gift in suffering. Here's the twist. The very pain you're trying to escape may be the soil of your greatness. What if the heartbreak gave you empathy? What if the failure gave you wisdom? What if the loss gave you courage? The Stoics didn't glamorize pain. They simply refused to waste it.
The Pain Journal. Take one painful event in your life. Divide the page in 2 columns. Column A, what it took from me. Column B, what it gave me. At first, column A will feel heavier, but keep searching. Eventually, you'll notice column B filling too. That's the alchemy of Stoicism, turning wounds into wisdom. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison. That pain could have embittered him. Instead, he used it to cultivate patience, forgiveness, and vision. When released, he didn't return seeking revenge. He returned ready to lead a divided nation toward unity. His pain became not just his power, but his country's. What's one hardship that, looking back, gave you unexpected strength? Drop it in the comments. Your answer might be the encouragement someone else needs today. And if this principle resonates, subscribe. Each week, we uncover another Stoic way to transform life's trials into triumphs. So far, we've built calm, resilience, discipline, meaning, acceptance, and strength from pain. But all of these principles lead to a bigger question. What kind of legacy are you building? In the next part, we'll explore the Stoic view of legacy. Not fame, not applause, but living in such a way that your actions echo long after you're gone. Stay with me, because this next section could redefine the way you measure success. Legacy. Living beyond yourself. Here's a sobering question. If you disappeared tomorrow, what would remain? Not your bank account, not your job title, not your follower count. Those fade fast. What lasts is the imprint you leave on others, the echoes of your actions, the values you lived by, the example you set. The Stoics were obsessed with legacy, but not in the modern sense of fame or monuments. They knew even emperors are forgotten. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote, "All is ephemeral, fame and the famous as well." For the Stoics, legacy wasn't about being remembered. It was about living rightly, so that whether remembered or not, your life carried weight. Look at our culture. People chase likes, views, titles, digital echoes that vanish within hours. The Stoics saw this centuries ago. Seneca warned, "He who seeks fame loses freedom." Why? Because when you live for recognition, you hand your peace to the crowd. Their applause becomes your drug. Their silence becomes your despair. The Stoic alternative? Live so well that applause is irrelevant. Build such integrity that even if forgotten, you've lived a life worth living. Look at our culture. People chase likes, views, titles, digital echoes that vanish within hours. The Stoics saw this centuries ago. Seneca warned, "He who seeks fame loses freedom." Why? Because when you live for recognition, you hand your peace to the crowd. Their applause becomes your drug. Their silence becomes your despair. The Stoic alternative? Live so well that applause is irrelevant. Build such integrity that even if forgotten, you've lived a life worth living.
The true measure of legacy. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." That's legacy. Not what you said, but how you lived. Did you treat people with justice? Did you face hardship with courage? Did you practice wisdom when others panicked? Did you master yourself instead of trying to master the world? If yes, then your legacy is already secure, whether your name is remembered or not. Marcus Aurelius ruled Rome at its height. He commanded armies, passed laws, sat in palaces. But he knew all of that would vanish. In Meditations, he wrote reminders to himself like, "Alexander the Great and his mule driver both died, and the same thing happened to both." For Marcus, legacy wasn't in monuments. It was in embodying wisdom under pressure. That's why people still read his journal today, not because of his empire, but because of his integrity. Think of Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers. He never chased fame. He focused on kindness, patience, and dignity. He died in 2003, and yet millions still feel his influence. Not because he shouted, but because he lived consistently. That's Stoic legacy. Quiet strength that ripples outward for generations.
3 Stoic practices for building legacy. Practice 1. Focus on virtue, not visibility. Seneca said, "A good character once established is not easily overthrown." Focus daily on living your virtues, wisdom, justice, courage, temperance. Let results follow. Practice 2. Lead by example, not explanation. If you want your children, colleagues, or community to embody resilience, show them resilience. Talk less, live more. Practice 3. Plant seeds you may never see grow. Marcus wrote, "What we do now echoes in eternity." That doesn't mean you'll be remembered forever. It means the good you plant today, kindness, courage, justice, may outlive you in ways you'll never witness. Most people think legacy means doing something massive, building a company, writing a book, changing the world. But here's the twist. Legacy is built in small, daily moments. A father who teaches his son patience, a friend who shows loyalty in crisis, a leader who treats people with fairness. Those small acts ripple wider than you imagine. This week, write a letter titled, "The Legacy I Want to Leave." Answer 3 questions. Who do I want to impact? What values do I want them to remember? And what actions today can I take to embody that? Seal it, revisit it each year, let it guide you. Frankl, who survived concentration camps, didn't seek to be remembered, yet his book, Man's Search for Meaning, has shaped millions of lives. His legacy wasn't built on fame, it was built on truth. Truth forged in suffering, lived with integrity, and passed on as service. What's one value you'd want to be remembered for? Drop it in the comments. Justice, courage, wisdom, temperance. And if you're committed to building a Stoic legacy, not just chasing recognition, subscribe. This channel is about planting seeds that matter. So far, we've explored calm, resilience, discipline, meaning, acceptance, pain, and legacy.
But all of this points to one final challenge: relationships. Because no matter how strong you are individually, you will face people who disrespect you, misunderstand you, or even try to harm you. In the next part, we'll explore the Stoic art of dealing with difficult people, how to stay unshaken when others try to drag you into chaos. And I'll share the surprising Stoic principle that transforms every toxic encounter into a training ground for your character. Stay with me, because this next lesson is one every modern man needs.
Handling difficult people the Stoic way. No matter how disciplined or calm you become, one challenge never disappears: people. The disrespectful coworker, the arrogant boss, the family member who pushes your buttons. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, corruption, and constant criticism as Emperor of Rome. His response? He wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, today I will meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. But none of them can harm me." Read that again. None of them can harm me. That's Stoic strength. He didn't deny that people are difficult. He simply refused to hand them control over his inner peace.
Why difficult people hurt us. Let's be honest. The reason other people get under our skin isn't what they say, it's what we make it mean. The rude comment triggers our insecurity. The criticism threatens our pride. The betrayal shakes our need for control. In other words, it's not their behavior that hurts, it's our reaction. Epictetus said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." That's confronting, but freeing, because it means the solution isn't changing them, it's mastering yourself. 3 Stoic strategies for difficult people. Strategy 1. Lower your expectations. Seneca wrote, "Expecting is the greatest cause of unhappiness." If you expect people to always be kind, you'll always be disappointed. Instead, expect imperfection. When someone is rude, remind yourself, this is human. This is predictable. Lowering expectations doesn't mean tolerating abuse. It means refusing to be shocked by ordinary human flaws. Strategy 2. Practice indifference to insults. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Insults only stick if you give them power. Imagine someone calls you a liar. If you know you're honest, why be rattled? If it's true, then use it as feedback. Either way, the insult loses its sting. Next time someone insults you, pause and ask, does this reveal truth I should correct or ignorance I should ignore? That one question turns irritation into clarity. Strategy 3. Use them as sparring partners. Marcus Aurelius viewed difficult people as sparring partners, opportunities to practice patience, forgiveness, and resilience. Think of them as the weights in your emotional gym. Without resistance, you don't get stronger. Next time someone frustrates you, silently thank them, "You've given me a chance to practice self-control." Remember, Epictetus was born into slavery. His master once twisted his leg until it broke. Instead of hatred, Epictetus calmly said, "If you keep twisting, you will break it." When it snapped, he added, "Did I not tell you?" That's not weakness, that's mastery. His master could break his body, but never his spirit. After 27 years in prison, Nelson Mandela walked free. He could have chosen revenge. Instead, he chose reconciliation. Why? Because he refused to let bitterness own him. That choice not only transformed his life, but changed a nation. Stoicism in action. What most people get wrong about difficult people is they think peace comes when the other person changes. But the Stoics knew peace comes when you change.
You can't control their words, tone, or actions, but you can control your meaning, your response, and your boundaries. That's real power.
The stone wall exercise. Imagine yourself as a stone wall. The wind howls, rain lashes, people shout, but the wall stands unmoved. Next time you're provoked, visualize yourself as that wall, solid, unshaken. Their storm passes, you remain. Practice this until it becomes second nature. I want to know, who tests your patience the most right now? A boss, a coworker, a family member? Drop it in the comments with just one word: boss, coworker, family, stranger. You'll see you're not alone. We're all training with sparring partners. And if you want more tools to handle them with stoic calm, subscribe. Every lesson we cover is another weapon in your inner arsenal.
The wrong people. Sometimes the most painful lesson is realizing you've been good to the wrong people. You gave loyalty, kindness, patience, only to be disrespected. The Stoic response isn't revenge, it's clarity. Your absence becomes their lesson. Their regret is their burden. Your peace is your reward. As Seneca said, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Walk away with dignity. That silence is louder than anger. We've now explored how to handle difficult people without losing your center. But there's one more layer: motivation. Because many men drive themselves through anger, fear, or the desire to prove others wrong. That fuel works, but only for a while. In the next part, we'll uncover the Stoic shift from being pushed by pain to being pulled by purpose. Stay with me, because this lesson alone could change the entire trajectory of your ambition. Push versus pull motivation. Most men start their journey fueled by push, anger, fear, proving someone wrong, escaping poverty, silence the doubters. And let's be honest, that fuel works. It burns hot, it gets you moving. But here's the problem. Push motivation doesn't last. Anger cools, fear fades, the doubters stop watching. And when the fire dies, you're left exhausted, wondering what's next. The Stoics understood this long before psychology caught up. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." In other words, what drives you matters as much as where you're going. Push, the fire that burns fast. Think about your own life. Maybe you worked hard to escape your father's shadow. Maybe you stayed late at the office to prove the critics wrong. Maybe you hit the gym to show an ex what they lost. That energy is sharp, it's hot, but it's also unstable. When you're driven by anger or comparison, your identity stays tied to others. You're enslaved to their opinions. Seneca put it plainly, "He who is brave is free." And you're not free if your fuel depends on enemies, critics, or ghosts from your past. Pull, the energy that endures. Now compare that to being pulled. Pulled by vision, by purpose, by meaning bigger than yourself. Howard Schultz, the man behind Starbucks, began life in public housing. His push was poverty. He wanted out. That got him started. But what kept him going wasn't fear, it was purpose. He wanted to create a company that treated workers with dignity, that built community. That pull carried him far beyond what anger or fear could sustain. The Stoic shift is exactly this. Move from being pushed by pain to being pulled by purpose. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, wrote in Man's Search for Meaning, "Those who have a why to live for can bear almost any how." In the camps, those who survived weren't the strongest or angriest. They were the ones pulled by meaning, faith, love, a vision of rebuilding life afterwards.
Push breaks under suffering. Pull endures.
3 Stoic drills to shift from push to pull. Drill 1. Identify your push fuel. Write down, what's driving me right now? Is it fear? Anger? Proving someone wrong? Get honest. Awareness is the first step. Drill 2. Define your pull vision. Answer, what am I building that will outlast me? Maybe it's raising strong children, building a business rooted in integrity, serving your community. This becomes your compass. Drill 3. Reframe daily actions as service. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself, what is not good for the hive is not good for the bee. Each day, connect your actions to service beyond yourself. You're not just working out, you're modeling discipline for your kids. You're not just saving money, you're securing freedom for your family. Service transforms grind into devotion.
Why pain still matters. Now, don't misunderstand. Pain still has value. Push gets you started. Fear or anger can spark action when you're stuck. But the Stoics warn, never let that be your only fuel. Use pain as a starting spark, then shift quickly to purpose. Otherwise, you'll burn out. Jocko, the Navy SEAL commander, wakes up at 4:30 a.m. every day. His mantra? Discipline equals freedom. He doesn't wake up fueled by anger at an enemy. He's pulled by a mission to embody and teach discipline as a way of life. That pull keeps him steady year after year.
The mission statement. This week, write a personal mission statement in 1 to 2 sentences. Keep it simple. Example: I exist to raise a family rooted in strength and wisdom. Or, I exist to bring discipline and clarity to others through my work. Read it each morning. Let it pull you forward. I want to know, what's pulling you right now? Drop one word in the comments. Family, freedom, service, mastery, faith. Your word might inspire someone else who's still stuck in push mode. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because the next section is about acceptance, and it could save you years of inner conflict. Marcus spent most of his reign on battlefields. Disease killed his soldiers. Betrayal shook his trust. His push fuel could have been anger, vengeance, fear. But his journals reveal a deeper pull: duty, service to Rome, commitment to philosophy. That purpose carried him through war, grief, and sickness without losing his calm. That's the Stoic difference. We've now seen the shift from push to pull, from pain-driven to purpose-driven. But purpose requires something most men avoid: acceptance. Acceptance of your flaws, acceptance of your limits, acceptance of reality as it is, not as you wish it were. Because until you accept, you can't grow. And until you face yourself honestly, you'll stay stuck in denial. In the next part, we'll explore how Stoics used radical acceptance, not as resignation, but as the doorway to growth. And I'll share a powerful exercise to turn your scars into strengths. Stay tuned, because this next step may be the most freeing one yet.
Acceptance as the gateway to growth. Here's a paradox. You can't grow until you accept where you are. Most men fight this. They deny flaws, hide scars, and pretend weakness doesn't exist. But denial isn't strength. It's a cage. The Stoics taught that growth begins with brutal honesty. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, if someone can prove me wrong
and show me my mistake, I will gladly change, for I seek the truth, which never harmed anyone. Think about that. An emperor saying, "Correct me." That's acceptance, not resignation, not weakness, but the courage to face reality and use it.
Why acceptance scares us. We fear acceptance because it feels like surrender. If I admit I'm flawed, I'll lose respect. But here's the twist. People respect honesty more than pretense. When you accept mistakes, you stop wasting energy defending them. When you accept limits, you can focus on what's truly possible. When you accept your scars, you transform shame into strength. Epictetus said, "Don't hope that events will turn out the way you want. Welcome events in whichever way they happen. This is the path to peace." That's acceptance, not giving up, but aligning yourself with reality. Nick grew up isolated, always feeling left out. That loneliness could have hardened him into bitterness. Instead, once he accepted it, he saw it differently. Solitude became training. It built independence, reflection, and resilience. His purse became his advantage. That's the power of acceptance.
The Stoic process of acceptance. Step 1. Name it clearly. Marcus wrote, "If it is humanly possible, know that you can do it too, but first you must admit what is real." Say out loud, "I am impatient. I am afraid. I am greeding." Naming it removes its power to hide. Step 2. Reframe it as training. Seneca advised, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Once you accept the flaw or pain, see it as training. Impatience trains patience. Fear trains courage. Grief trains gratitude. Step 3. Act within your circle of control. Acceptance without action is just resignation. The Stoics didn't wallow. They acted. Okay, I'm angry. What's in my control right now? My words, my response. Acceptance clears the fog so you can act wisely. What most people get wrong. Most men think acceptance means lowering standards. Wrong. Acceptance is the opposite. It's the foundation of growth. If you can't admit where you are, you'll never get where you want to go. It's like a GPS. Type in the wrong starting location, and no matter how good the map, you'll never arrive. Acceptance is punching in your true location. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. He could have denied it, blamed the coach, quit. Instead, he accepted it as reality and used it as fuel. That sting became his lifelong edge. Acceptance didn't end his story, it began it. Tonight, stand in front of a mirror. Say out loud 3 truths you've been avoiding. 1, a flaw you've been denying. 2, a fear you've been hiding. 3, a pain you've been running from. Then say, "This is where I begin." Do it weekly. Watch how acceptance transforms shame into momentum.
Pain as a hidden gift. Acceptance also applies to pain. The Stoics believed wounds can become wisdom. Marcus wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That means your greatest obstacle may be your greatest gift if you accept it. John lost everything: business, home, pride. For months, he lay in despair. Only when he accepted the loss did he begin to rebuild. His ruins became the foundation of a sturdier, wiser life. Years later, he said, "I'd never want to go through it again, but I am who I am because I did." His pain, accepted, became his power. Here's a question.
What truth have you been avoiding that, if accepted, could set you free? Drop one word in the comments. Fear, anger, grief, failure. You'll discover you're not alone. And if you're ready to face yourself honestly, subscribe. This community is built on courage, not comfort.
Stoic drill. Turn the wound into a weapon. Take one past wound. Write down what it taught you. Betrayal taught me loyalty. Loss taught me gratitude. Fear taught me courage. By naming the lesson, you transform the wound from an enemy into an ally.
Your pain can be your power. There are moments in life that cut so deep you wonder if you'll ever stand again. Betrayal, loss, failure, humiliation. At the time, pain feels like the end. But the Stoics believed pain could also be the beginning, the raw material for transformation. Epictetus, born a slave, beaten and broken, famously said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." His pain didn't destroy him. It defined his philosophy. He turned his chains into a platform for freedom.
Why pain feels unbearable? Let's be honest, pain overwhelms because it steals two things: control and meaning. We can't stop the loss, betrayal, or failure. We can't make sense of why it happened. But here's the Stoic insight. Pain itself is neutral. It becomes poison or power depending on the meaning you assign it to it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That's the secret. Pain can either paralyze you or propel you forward. Remember John, who lost everything: business, home, reputation? For months, despair owned him, but when he reframed the collapse as a foundation instead of a tombstone, he rebuilt, stronger, wiser, more resilient. Years later, he admitted, "I'd never wish that season on anyone, but I'm grateful for it, because it made me who I am." That's the Stoic paradox: hating the pain, but honoring the growth it produced. Epictetus, his master, twisted his leg until it snapped. Instead of rage, he calmly said, "Did I not tell you it would break?" That wasn't passivity, it was mastery. His master could break his body, but never his spirit. That unbreakable calm is why we still quote him 2,000 years later.
3 Stoic practices for transforming pain. Practice 1. Name the pain honestly. Don't sugarcoat it. Write, "I was betrayed. I lost everything. I failed." Stoics never denied pain. They faced it head-on. Practice 2. Extract the lesson. Ask, "What did this teach me?" If betrayal, perhaps loyalty matters more. If failure, resilience. If loss, gratitude for what remains. Practice 3. Rebuild on the ruins. Don't try to erase the past. Build on it. Use the scar as a reminder of strength. Like kintsugi, the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold. Your cracks become part of your beauty. The 2 choices. Here's the twist. When pain comes, you only have 2 choices. 1, let it make you better. 2, let it make you better. There's no middle ground. Most people unconsciously choose bitterness. The Stoic consciously chooses better. Pain to Power Journal. Take one painful event. Write 2 columns. Column A. If I let this define me negatively, what happens? Column B. If I use this as training, what happens?
The contrast will shock you. Choose column B. Here's my challenge. In the comments, write one word that describes your hardest pain: loss, betrayal, failure, grief. Then add one word for the lesson it taught you: courage, resilience, wisdom, strength. You'll see you're not alone. And if you want more tools to turn scars into strength, subscribe. This community is built on transformation, not denial.
The Phoenix Principle. Think of the phoenix, burned to ashes, then reborn stronger. Pain is your fire. The question is, will you stay in ashes or rise renewed? The Stoics would say, rise, always rise. What most people get wrong. Most people think strength means avoiding pain, but the Stoics flipped it. True strength is forged through pain. Without it, you remain soft. With it, you grow unshakable. During Marcus's reign, a plague killed millions, including friends and family. He grieved deeply, but instead of despair, he doubled down on service. His pain expanded his compassion. His suffering deepened his philosophy. That's the Stoic blueprint. Don't waste your pain.
The Stoic vision of pain. Seneca said, "Fire tests gold. Suffering tests brave men." Pain isn't proof you're weak. It's proof you're being tested and given the chance to emerge purer, stronger, braver. So far, we've seen how to turn pain into power. But there's a deeper question. What's the point of all this? Why endure? Why keep building, suffering, growing? The Stoics had an answer: virtue. They believed the highest goal of life wasn't comfort, fame, or even success. It was living in alignment with virtue. In the next part, we'll explore the Stoic blueprint of virtue: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, and how living by these 4 pillars makes you unshakable in a chaotic world. Stay tuned, because this lesson ties every principle together into a code you can live by daily.
The daily virtue check. At the end of each day, score yourself 1 to 5 in each virtue. Wisdom. Did I focus on what mattered? Courage. Did I act despite fear? Justice. Did I treat people fairly? Temperance. Did I master my impulses? Don't judge, just track. Over time, you'll see patterns and growth. Which virtue do you struggle with most right now? Wisdom, courage, justice, or temperance? Drop it in the comments, one word only. You'll notice we all wrestle with different pieces, and together we sharpen each other. If this resonates, subscribe, because this community is about men sharpening men the way Stoics sharpened each other. The 4 pillars as a table. Imagine life as a table with 4 legs. Remove 1 and the table wobbles. Remove 2, it collapses. The Stoic path is about strengthening all 4, so you stand steady no matter what weight is placed on you. What most men get wrong. Most men chase goals, money, status, fitness, without a code. They think achievement alone equals peace. But without virtue, success becomes emptiness. The Stoics flipped it. Live by virtue first and let success be the side effect. We've now explored the 4 Stoic virtues, the compass for every decision, the foundation of resilience. But there's one more step: integration. Because philosophy isn't about theory, it's about practice. The Stoics cared less about what you knew and more about what you lived. In the next part, we'll explore how to integrate everything we've covered: focus, discipline, meaning, acceptance, pain, and virtue into a daily system. Stay with me, because this is where the rubber meets the road, where Stoicism stops being words and becomes your way of life. Building your Stoic system. Philosophy isn't useful if it stays in books. The Stoics weren't armchair thinkers. They were warriors, emperors, slaves, and citizens who lived their philosophy daily. Epictetus said it bluntly: don't explain your philosophy, embody it. So the question becomes, how do you take everything we've covered: focus, discipline, meaning, acceptance, pain, and virtue, and make it part of your daily system? Because without a system, good intentions fade. Why systems beat motivation? Motivation is fleeting. You feel inspired today, then drained tomorrow. But systems, routines, habits, disciplines carry you through when motivation fails. The Stoics built daily rituals to embody their philosophy: morning reflection, evening review, journaling, rehearsing hardship, practicing silence. These weren't random, they were systems. Marcus Aurelius didn't just write in meditations when he felt like it, he wrote daily, anchoring himself in truth before facing the empire's chaos.
The 4 Stoic virtues, your code for life. The Stoics didn't just teach scattered lessons. They built a framework, a code of 4 virtues that every wise man must live by: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus all circled back to these 4. Why? Because if you master them, you don't need endless rules. You have a compass for every decision. Virtue 1. Wisdom. See clearly. Wisdom is knowing what matters and what doesn't. It's the discipline of perspective. Marcus wrote, "If you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your judgment of them." Wisdom asks, is this worth my energy? Is this within my control? Without wisdom, you waste yourself on trivia. With wisdom, you focus on the essential. Each night ask, what did I waste energy on today? What truly mattered? Write down both. Over time, wisdom sharpens. Virtue 2. Courage. Act anyway. Wisdom without courage is paralysis. You see clearly, but fail to act. Courage is choosing action despite fear. Seneca said, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. Courage isn't absence of fear, it's mastery of it. It's walking into the meeting, having the hard conversation, or facing the unknown and saying, I will act anyway. Do one small thing daily that scares you. Speak up, set a boundary, share an idea. Courage is a muscle. Train it. Virtue 3. Justice. Do right by others. Justice is integrity, treating people with fairness, respect, and dignity. Marcus called it the most important virtue for a leader. He wrote, what is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bee, meaning you can't thrive if you poison the hive. Justice aligns your good with the good of others. Before a decision, ask, if everyone acted like this, what kind of world would it create? If the answer is chaos, choose differently. Virtue 4. Temperance. Master yourself. Temperance is self-control. It's resisting excess, whether food, drink, money, or ego. Epictetus said, no man is free who is not master of himself. Temperance isn't denial, it's balance. Enjoy pleasures, but don't be enslaved by them. Control appetites so they don't control you. Once a week, practice restraint. Skip dessert. Leave your phone behind. Fast from comfort.
each act of temperance strengthens your freedom. Why 4, not 1? Some men think, I'll just master courage, that's enough. But the Stoics knew each virtue balances the others. Courage without wisdom becomes recklessness. Wisdom without courage becomes cowardice. Justice without temperance becomes harshness. Temperance without justice becomes self-absorption. Together, they form a complete code. Marcus embodied the 4 virtues daily. Wisdom, he questioned his judgments constantly. Courage, he led armies despite sickness. Justice, he protected even those who opposed him. Temperance, he lived simply despite being emperor. That's why his journal still inspires. He lived the code. A U.S. Navy pilot shot down in Vietnam, Stockdale spent 7 years as a prisoner of war. Tortured, starved, isolated, yet he endured. His secret? Stoicism. He lived by the 4 virtues. Wisdom. He separated what he could control, his attitude, from what he couldn't. Courage. He resisted, even under torture. Justice. He protected fellow prisoners, taking beatings in their place. Temperance. He accepted deprivation without breaking. When asked later how he survived, he said, "I never lost faith in the end of the story." That's Stoicism at work.
The 3 pillars of a Stoic system. Pillar 1, morning preparation. Start each day by priming your mind. Marcus began his mornings reminding himself, "Today I will meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence." Each morning, write 3 challenges you might face and how you'll respond with wisdom, courage, justice, or temperance. Pillar 2, midday reset. Life will shake you. That's normal. What matters is resetting before you spiral. Seneca advised taking breaks to remind yourself of perspective. Modern version, set a timer midday, pause, breathe. Ask, what's in my control right now? This resets your focus. Pillar 3, evening review. The Stoics ended each day with review. Epictetus taught, when the light has been taken out, say to yourself, what deficiency of mine did I correct today? What passions opposed me? What virtue did I acquire? Each night, journal answers to, what did I do well? Where did I fail? How can I improve tomorrow? The illusion of big change. Most men wait for dramatic change, a big epiphany, a life reset. The Stoics knew better. Real transformation comes from small, repeated actions. Daily journaling, daily reflection, daily discipline. Small habits compound into unshakable strength. We mentioned James Stockdale earlier, the POW who survived years of torture through Stoicism. His system wasn't complicated. He lived one principle: I control my response. Day after day, in a cell with no control, that system carried him. Not motivation, not hope of release, a system of daily discipline. Ryan Holiday, author of The Daily Stoic, built his career on applying Stoicism systematically. He journals each morning. He reflects nightly. He uses note cards to capture insights. His books aren't theory. They're the product of a system that translates philosophy into daily practice. Build your Stoic schedule. This week, build a 3-step Stoic routine. 1. Morning. Write 1 Stoic quote plus 1 challenge you'll face. 2. Midday. Pause once to ask, what's in my control? 3. Evening. Journal, win, loss, lesson. Simple, repeatable, powerful. The archer's aim. The Stoics used the metaphor of an archer. You control your aim, your stance, your release, but not the wind or where the arrow lands. Your system is aiming well. The result? Out of your hands. That's integration. Living daily in your lane, detached from outcomes, focused on effort. What most people get wrong. Most people dip into philosophy like a hobby. Read a quote here, listen to a podcast there. But without integration, it's entertainment, not transformation. The Stoics knew philosophy isn't something you know, it's something you do, daily, quietly, relentlessly. What's one habit you could add tomorrow to make your life more stoic? Journaling, morning reflection, midday reset. Comment below with one word: journal, reflect, reset, or silence. Then try it for 1 week. You'll feel the shift. And if you want to keep building systems with us, subscribe. This isn't about hype, it's about steady growth. The Stoic cycle of integration. 1. Learn. Read, listen, reflect. 2. Practice. Apply one small principle daily. 3. Reflect. Review progress at night. 4. Refine and repeat. That cycle, repeated for years, builds a fortress of character.
The power of quiet consistency. Steph Curry didn't become great overnight. He shot 500 jumpers daily for years. Quiet, consistent, hidden. That's the Stoic path. Not loud breakthroughs, but silent repetitions that stack into mastery. We've now covered everything: focus, meaning, discipline, self-esteem, motivation, acceptance, pain, virtue, and integration. But all of it points to one final truth: the Stoic vision of resilience. Because Stoicism isn't about never feeling pain, it's about never being broken by it. In the last part, we'll bring everything together: your action plan, your philosophy, your daily system, into one closing challenge. Stay with me, because part 15 isn't just a conclusion, it's the beginning of your Stoic life. The Stoic path to unshakable resilience. You've walked through focus, meaning, discipline, self-esteem, motivation, acceptance, pain, virtue, and daily systems. Now it's time to bring it all together. The Stoics didn't offer a quick fix. They offered a way of life, a path to resilience that doesn't depend on luck, status, or recognition. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That one sentence is the essence of everything. Resilience is built, not born, and it's built inside you. The core Stoic equation. Here's the Stoic formula we've been circling all along. 1. Control what you can. 2. Release what you can't. 3. Align with virtue. 4. Repeat daily. Do that, and nothing outside can break you. Why resilience matters. Look around. Life is chaos. Markets crash. Jobs shift. Relationships strain. Health falters. You can't stop it, but you can stop yourself from being broken by it. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Your trials aren't punishments. They're polish. They're forging you into something stronger, if you let them. Integration in daily life. So how do you live Stoicism? Not just think it. By weaving it into the ordinary. In traffic, practice patience. In meetings, practice courage. With family, practice justice. With yourself, practice temperance. Philosophy isn't for classrooms. It's for kitchens, offices, gyms, and late-night worries. Think of the man who loses his job but doesn't spiral. Instead, he calmly updates his resume, makes calls, and keeps his family steady. Or the father who stays composed when his child lashes out, choosing teaching over shouting. Or the leader who admits mistakes instead of hiding them. None of these men are superhuman. They're stoic. They've trained their inner world so the outer world can't break them.
The Stoic Action Plan. Here's your 5-step plan to live Stoicism daily. Morning reflection. Write down one challenge you'll face and one virtue you'll apply. Midday reset. Ask, what's in my control right now? Evening review. Journal your wins, losses, lessons. Weekly acceptance check. Name one truth you've been avoiding. Face it. Monthly legacy review. Write one paragraph on the impact you want to leave. Repeat, adjust, refine. That's how resilience is built. What most men get wrong. Most men think resilience means being tough, stoic in the lowercase sense, emotionless, rigid. But true stoicism isn't suppression, it's mastery. You still feel anger, grief, fear, but you don't serve them, you use them. That's resilience. The Stoic worldview. At its core, Stoicism says you are not the victim of life. You are its student. Every storm is a classroom. Every hardship is a drill. Every insult is a test. Marcus Aurelius. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Life will keep changing, but your thoughts, trained and disciplined, can turn change into strength. The seed in the soil. Think of a seed buried in darkness. It looks like death, but underground transformation happens. Roots grow, a stem pushes upward. Eventually, it breaks the surface, stronger, taller, thriving. Your pain, your struggles, your quiet disciplines, that's your soil. Don't curse the darkness. Grow in it. Here's my question to you. Which Stoic practice from this series will you start this week? Journaling? Morning reflection? Legacy letter? Comment with one word. And if this journey has resonated with you, subscribe, because this isn't the end. It's the start of a life rooted in power and peace.
The Stoic warrior path, we began with silence and focus. We walked through meaning, discipline, and resilience. We faced pain and reframed it as power. We studied virtue as our compass, and we built systems to live it daily. This is the Stoic warrior path, not a loud march, but a steady walk. Not a demand for applause, but a quiet strength that speaks for itself. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." The Stoic warrior flips that. By mastering imagination, he suffers less, lives clearer, and acts stronger. Here's your final challenge. For the next 30 days, live Stoicism deliberately. Each day, practice one principle: control, meaning, discipline, acceptance, virtue. Track it. Reflect nightly. At the end of 30 days, ask, am I calmer, stronger, freer? You will be. Not because life got easier, but because you got harder to break. Let's end where we began, with Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's your blueprint, that's your compass, that's your challenge. Subscribe, share this journey, and keep walking the Stoic path with us, because resilience is built, not born,
and it's built in you, one disciplined choice at a time.